Hi guys, so just a quick video to demonstrate the usage of the high-low indicator, which is one of the available indicators in the library. I've got a dome up here at the moment already, and I've actually got the high-low indicator applied to this middle column. It's the weekend, so I've got market replay running at the moment, and essentially it's the high and low of the data that I've already pushed through since the start. So I'm going to show you the main features of the high-low. If you shift-click the price column, which is the column that I've applied the indicator to. It's this one here. Now, if you're starting, if you're adding it for the first time, it's essentially just click on the column, you click add, you choose indicator, and then you're going to choose the high-low marker from the indicator type, and that will basically set it up for you. And by default, you see that I've just made it a couple of dots. So the high is a green round dot, and the low is a red round dot. But those markers are totally configurable to change to whatever you want to use in order to view your highs and lows. And at the moment, as I said, I've got this applied to the price column. You can apply to any column you want. It doesn't have to be the price ladder. It can be any of the other columns or ladders. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go into the type properties here and just run through a few of the different options that are available. Now, the highs, lows, it's got the same data properties that are available on a volume profile, and you can basically choose what, those similar options. So if you want to see the high-low of a session, you obviously choose a volume profile and you choose a session. The session map will determine what particular session it is that you're looking at, because you can obviously choose regular trading hours, you can choose extended trading hours. If you want, you could add two high-low indicators, and you could set one with one session map and one with the other, in which case you could view the highs and lows of different types of sessions on the same ladder or on different ladders within the same dome. Then there's you can also view the highs and lows of other type of things, like if you wanted to view the high and low of an hour profile, of a minute, or you set your parameters once you choose that. A range, if you set, for instance, we want to see the 30-tick range, you can have markers on the high and low of the range showing. So that pretty much covers the major features there. Now the next major area is twofold. It's split into two sections. It's the section that you configure the high, and then there's a section further down which helps as for configuring all the lows. So the first thing is whether you actually want to show that or not. So that will be ticked on. If you tick it off, it's it's going to hide the marker and anything available to that. We'll tick it on. At the moment, we've got the circle. You can, for instance, you can hide the marker if you just want to perhaps use some kind of a text marker at the high. So in that case, in the font settings here and font visible, you see it's popped up as white there. You could, I'm just going to change that to black so it's clearly visible. By default, the high-low indicator, when you show font, is going to show the actual the price. The same sort of price that it would be on the ladder. You can change that. If you click static text, you can type in your own, high. So this marker functionality is very similar to the marker functionality on other indicators. You've got all of your X adjustments, Y adjustments. So for instance, you see by default the circles are centered in the cell, and on this particular dome it doesn't work because it's sitting on top of the price. So if you need to adjust your marker, we can say plus 25 there. If you wanted to see it sitting like that, you can minus. So all of those features are there in terms of the markers. You can change the type of marker to a square if you want to see a square. I'm just going to change that X adjust back to 0 so we see a full. You can show a border if you want. There's the option of using a line. So if we change that to a line, by default it goes as a diagonal. I've done that so that you can easily see the line, and then you can adjust it. So to make the line as straight across, you want to adjust, the line is set up with 2 points, an X and Y, which is that point, and an X2 and Y2, which is that point. So if we want to move that line to be horizontal, we're going to want to subtract from the Y2 position to move that back up higher. So I'm going to minus, I think, about 15 off of there. That's possibly too much. Yeah, minus 14. If you go a little bit too over, it's going to, it was essentially pushing into the next cell, so it was disappearing. So we've got minus 14. You can't really see that well, so you can thicken the line width there, make it 3. So there's a line, if you want to use that. Then there's an image as well if you want to put an image there. So that's essentially the marker side of it. You don't have to use a marker. You can hide that, as I said. So if we don't want to see a marker, you can hide that away. The next thing, which is quite interesting, is the ability to actually use a flood. So that's a separate section on the same indicator. There's a high flood and a low flood. And what that allows you to do is from the point of the high, you can actually change everything above that in the column. Change the background color or change the text above it, etc., so that you can create those kind of those split type ladders if you want with different colors, so that your session is a different color from the highs and the lows. So I'll show you an example of that. Let's switch on the flood. By default, now it's flooded the white color into the background, and you can see because this indicator is sitting on top of the ladder, it's now flooded over this section of the price ladder above the high. So if we want to still see the price, it's a case of making the font visible on the high, because you want to be able to see. Sorry, I just had to cut the video there. Right, so we were talking about the flooding, and the background is white. So what we've done is we make font visible, and you want to set that font to black so that we can actually see the price. And then we want the price, of course, to look exactly like the price on the underlying ladder so that it matches and it flows. So we'll change it to size 8. And then that price ladder, the existing price is X adjusted to, I think, minus 15. There we go. And that white as well doesn't look the same, so we want to use the same. I think this is a light gray, yeah. So I'm just changing the background of the flood so that it matches. So, yeah, that's matching, but of course in the flood we want it to be slightly different, so we'll make it a little bit darker. So there you can see from the high point higher up, it's essentially flooding with a different color, and you can change. The font doesn't have to be the same as you can make it any color you want. Usually it's nice to sort of invert it and make it an inverted color of what the background flood is. So yeah, that's how you go about using the high flood. And then the low flood is exactly the same in terms of using all the options there, and also using the marker. If you really want to, you can use the marker in combination with the flood. I'm not sure that many people would want to, but that option is there. So for whatever reason you wanted a small circle or that, and the flood's still active there. So yeah, that's the major sort of features available in the new high lows. Hopefully that's useful.